Rekluse will now show you how to install the Core EXP auto clutch for the CRF150R. We will begin with the prep and disassembly phase. Start off by soaking the EXP disc in oil for at least 5 minutes. Place the transmission in 5th gear. With the bike on a side stand or center stand, drain the engine coolant. Be sure to remove the radiator cap to allow proper airflow. Remove the kickstarter. Remove the brake pedal bolt and rotate the pedal away from the clutch cover. To avoid draining the oil, you can lay the bike completely over on the left side. Catch any fuel that drains out the overflow tubes. Remove the engine guard. Unbolt the water pump cover from the side case. We recommend extracting any extra coolant from the pump to prevent the possibility of it mixing with your transmission oil. Remove the side case bolts and pay close attention to where the different bolt lengths are located. There is one bolt here that has a hose guide attached to it. Pay close attention to how this is installed for when we're ready for reassembly. Remove the cover. Be sure that the copper washer for the water pump as well as the sleeve and O-ring for the water jacket are not displaced. Check to ensure the gasket is in good condition and replace if necessary. Now remove the pressure plate bolts and springs, followed by the pressure plate. Immediately inspect the back side of the pressure plate for any stuck throwout washers and make sure they don't get misplaced. Remove the throwout and make sure all washers remain in place. Bend the tabs down on the tab lock washer. Remove the center clutch nut. Using air here is okay, but do not use air to tighten the center clutch nut. This can cause the center clutch to bind up and cause excessive drag and stalling symptoms. Remove the tab lock washer and flat washer. These will both be reused with the new Rekluse center clutch. Now you can lift out the center hub with the entire clutch pack intact. Immediately inspect the backside for a stuck thrust washer. This must remain in the OEM location within the clutch basket. We're now ready for the installation phase. Install the Rekluse center clutch hub, indexing the splines on the main shaft. Place the tab lock washer and flat washer onto the center clutch. Now thread the OEM center clutch nut onto the main shaft and torque to 40 foot-pounds. Rekluse tech tip. If you have problems with the clutch spinning, you can place a T-handle between the swing arm and the rim lock to prevent the clutch from turning. Using channel lock pliers, bend the tabs up against the center clutch nut. Reinstall the OEM throwout assembly. Separate the OEM frictions from the OEM drive plates. You will reuse all but one OEM friction and 0 OEM drive plates. The OEM drive plates will be replaced with Rekluse drive plates. If your OEM frictions are worn or damaged, replace with new OEM frictions before proceeding. Begin the clutch pack installation starting with a Rekluse steel drive plate. Follow this with an OEM friction. Continue this alternating pattern until you have 6 steel drive plates and 5 friction discs installed. Place the Rekluse EXP disc on top of the last drive plate. This can go in on either side, there is no top or bottom. Be sure to index the tabs into the same basket slots that the friction discs are indexed into. On this model, the EXP should be flush with the outer basket tangs. Place the steel lining plate onto the underside of the Rekluse pressure plate, indexing the rectangular tabs into the machined slots. Rekluse tech tip. Using a small amount of oil here can help keep the lining plate in place. Flip the pressure plate over and set it into the center clutch hub, aligning the spring holes with the standoffs inside the center clutch. Place the Rekluse pressure plate springs and bolts into the pressure plate and thread them into the center clutch hub standoffs. If using different color pressure plate springs, be sure that the same color springs are directly across from each other. Torque the bolts to 9 foot-pounds. Reinstall the side case cover. If the side with the water pump is not seating properly, rotate the water pump propeller until the gears mesh. This will allow the case to sit flush against the engine case. Reinstall the OEM cover bolts and torque to OEM spec. Reinstall the water pump cover, kickstarter, and foot brake pedal. At this point, we need to top off the coolant that we drained. Stand the bike upright on a suitable bike stand. Pour coolant into the radiator until recommended level is achieved. Reinstall the radiator cap. We can now move on to setting the install gap. With this particular model, we'll be using the clutch cable length adjustments to achieve proper install gap clearance. The clutch cable can be adjusted with a perch adjuster and/or the inline adjuster. To determine whether we tighten or loosen the clutch cable, we need to fire the bike up and check the lever free play gain. There are two methods to checking free play gain. One, you can use a supplied rubber band, or you can use your index finger to apply pressure on the clutch lever. Either method will work, and when you understand what it is you're looking for, you shouldn't need the rubber band anymore. With the motor warmed up and transmission in neutral, quickly blip the throttle to about half and let go. Ideally, the lever will quickly move in towards you 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch. So let's say that you have too much free play gain. This is adjusted by lengthening or tightening the clutch cable. If the lever becomes tight to the perch, that's okay. With this particular auto clutch, you don't need standard clutch free play for proper function. On the flip side, if you don't have any free play gain, you must shorten or loosen your clutch cable. 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch is a critical measurement that ensures you get the best life and performance from your Rekluse Core EXP auto clutch. Do not ride without correct free play gain. Now that our free play gain is set, we can begin the final phase, break-in. We will start with rev cycles. With your hand off the clutch lever, rev the motor 10 times, being sure to let it return to idle between each rev. Now pull the clutch lever in and click down into first. Slowly release the lever. The bike should remain motionless and running. Now, without touching the clutch lever, slowly roll on the throttle and accelerate to about 5,000 RPM, and come to a complete stop. Repeat this 5 times. Now, starting in second gear, repeat these roll-on takeoffs another 5 times. Re-verify that you still have 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch. If you do, you're ready to enjoy a better ride.